Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Nick, and this is the Unscripted Podcast, the podcast where I post random ramblings and content that I just want to talk about. It's something that is ideas that bounce around in my head, and I want to get it out on a weekly basis. So if you like this type of unscripted content, go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you're new. So I got a good amount of topics to you, just a couple. Basically, I'm going to go over the game pickups of the week, the latest video performance on my main channel, Super Snicktendo, and what I've learned in 6 years on YouTube. So sit back and relax, and for the next 45 to 50 minutes, we'll kind of just chat. So, game pickups of the week. So I try not to buy too much stuff because I've been kind of like reevaluating what I'm spending stuff on and what I actually want. So I don't really buy too much. But this weekend was the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I like Milwaukee a lot. I know as a Chicago person, I'm not allowed to like any other city except for Chicago, but Milwaukee has like it's got like this old charm to it that Chicago used to have, and it's something that I just enjoy going to, because like the buildings, like the theaters are old, the convention center is kind of new, but it's got a lot of personality to it. So the cool thing about Milwaukee too is like it's only an hour away. And so my wife and I we decided to go up, and she has like this podcast that she likes to listen to. It's by Nora McInerney. It's called Terrible Thanks for Asking, and it's kind of an interesting podcast about like dealing with like grief and loss and everything, and it's not like super macabre, but it's also not like super hilarious either. But it was fun to go to a live show and see, because it's always fun to see, if you've been following either like a YouTuber or an internet show or something like that, it's been popular to go on tour, and so it was really fun to just like sit for like an hour and a half or so and just have like an intimate like little podcast experience. So that was a lot of fun. But Saturday was when I went to the Midwest Gaming Classic. And so the Midwest Gaming Classic has been around for a while, and it's starting to get bigger because it is really the premier game convention in the Midwest. That is one thing that Chicago just doesn't have, like a huge gaming presence. So Milwaukee has like picked up the slack, and so it's a lot of fun to go. It's a smaller convention, but it's not overwhelming. And the cool thing too is that there are a lot of different guests that come, and you can like go to certain panels, and they've just started now like courting YouTubers. So in the past, like they didn't really like do too much. Like you had to be like a game industry person, not necessarily a YouTube personality, but like they started to like branch out on that regard. When I went for the first time, I went in 2019, and that was a lot of fun because Arlo from YouTube, the blue puppet, was there. So I got to meet him, and one of the coolest things was the panel was with Frank Savaldi and Howard Phillips. And Howard Phillips is like this iconic Nintendo guy. If you are a retro gaming person who likes Nintendo, then you should know who Howard Phillips is. And that was just, it was cool because I got to hear him speak, and I was going to meet Arlo because he had like a little meet and greet thing, and who's standing like just off to the corner is Howard Phillips. And Howard Phillips is just standing there. He's just standing. I'm like, oh, I'll just go up to talk to him. And I was like first in line to see Arlo, and I was just talking to Howard Phillips, and Arlo comes in. He's like, hey, you know, you're in line and everything. I was like, yeah, I'll be here in a second. I'm talking, like, he didn't know who Howard Phillips was. I mean, maybe he didn't even see him because, like, it's a guy, like, hate to spoil it for you, but Arlo is a guy who does a puppet thing. But, uh, you know, whatever. It was so fun to talk to him. So, obviously, 2020 comes along and it's COVID. It's canceled, which sucked. And then I went in 2021, and then I didn't go in 2022 because I was ready to go, and my wife got sick, and so we weren't sure if it was COVID or not. Like, it wasn't testing for COVID or anything, but just to be on the safe side, because I would hate to be like the super spreader of thing when I could have just easily stayed home. So fine, whatever. So this year I went. I was healthy, and my wife was healthy, and so we had a good time. And so this time around, I'm like the first time I went, I maybe had like 1,500 subscribers, and I always make a thing. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go, just to kind of just like throw it out there, just as a networking opportunity, just to see if I could like meet other people that I interact with online, because like that's always the fun part too. But so this time around, I got 7,900 subscribers now, so I'm still not like super mega popular, but I still put it out there because now there's like a non-zero chance that someone. I think the first time I went, the only person who came up to me was Game Trade Greg, and then now this time around, a handful of people came up. So like that was really cool because it's I don't really expect to get noticed or anything. I'm not trying to be like Mr. Celebrity here, but it is still cool to have people who subscribe to your content and then like actually tell you like in person that they enjoy it. So that was a lot of fun. A lot of people that they like the Retronomics episodes, and they are, just generally just like jazzed to be there in the first place. So, to come across them and stuff, I didn't have like a meet and greet or anything. I hindsight is 2020. I probably should have like had like a specific spot where like maybe like at 12 o'clock or something like that, if you want to pop on by or something and have like a little meetup, thing. But like I was walking around the con. So like if somebody like had the presence of mind to like see me and then like actually like say hello, I really appreciate it. But I did met Brett Weiss this time. Cool guy, seemed to be pretty jazzed to be there. And then I met he was sharing like a corner booth with John Hancock, so that was nice to see him too, and like converse with him a little bit, and ran into John Riggs in passing. And then I met the guy who runs Songbird Productions. He's a really cool person as well. Everybody's just chill, gaming off the grid. I collabed with them, so it was nice to actually like run into them and everything, and like see people in person. There was just a couple of people that I missed, but again, like that's kind of the thing, is like I didn't really like make an effort to arrange to meet these people or anything like that. So next time I'll be a little bit more confident and try to actually like schedule some like time to meet with people and everything, just to make sure I wasn't ghosted or anything. But I did pick up some games. So I am, for some goofy reason, I am looking to pick up a full Atari Lynx set. There are 71 retail games, and Link's games are not easy to find in the wild, at least. Like, game convention, there's a lot of people who say, like, what is in the wild or anything. It's like, if I find it at a retail store that's not eBay, like, that's the wild. Sorry. Like, we're at the point where you're not going, like, it's going to be super incredibly rare to find 40-year-old games at a garage sale. Like, let's kind of like just call it what it is at the time now. Like, we're no longer at that point. And so anything that's off eBay, like that isn't in eBay, I consider in the wild. Like, in person is in the wild. So going for a complete Link set, I found one store, like one shop that had a decent amount, but they all had like the ones that I had. So they had 4 of them that I didn't have. So I picked up Chips Challenge, Electro Cop, Steel Talons, and Switchblade 2. They were priced pretty reasonably, like they were $10 or $15 a piece. And so I was just like, hey, can you cut me a deal for all 4? And he's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you for $40. Like, so $10 a piece. So fine by me. I mean, because like, how many people are actually like looking for Link's games too? Like, I mean, Songbird Productions was like the only booth with like a whole bunch of them. So I am still on the lookout for some of the more rarer ones, and it becomes a challenge because there is a couple of games that have been reprinted in recent years. So like, for example, Super Off-Road and Double Dragon have been reprinted. So those are hard to like, at least like they differentiate themselves from the real deal. But I did get Double Dragon a long time ago, so I don't have to worry about that one. But it is a pretty tough set, and I really like, and that's the thing, is like, I don't really want to go on eBay, because what's the fun in like hunting down games if you're just like, but even eBay doesn't sell them all. Like, I have to put up alerts and everything, and like, they don't come off often, and like when they do, they're expensive and they're not from the United States. I forgot which game I bought. Like, I think I bought Desert Strike or something like that. I can't remember which ones that I bought, but like it came from the Netherlands, and it took like a month and a half to get to me. And like, it's just, I'll have to like bite the bullet eventually. Like on Lemmings, I kind of passed on it, but it keeps coming up and it keeps going for more and more money. So, man, like, same thing with like, yeah, there's just certain games that you have to just be on the up and up for. But that is one thing that I was excited to get. Like, I got at least like 4 Link's games that I didn't already have. Then I got Tecmo Bowl in the box. So I actually have it right here. So I know that everybody enjoys Tecmo's Super Bowl, but I have always had a soft spot for Tecmo Bowl. It's one of those games where it just had the simple play calling, and of course, like, the Chicago Bears were actually good in that. So I guess like that's one of the reasons why you had Walter Payton, and Bo Jackson was in that game too. So it's like, it's such a fun game, and I was like, I'm trying to get like games that I really enjoy complete in the box. Like, that's kind of like where my collection is heading now. I don't really want to get like a full complete in box set, but games that I really enjoyed as a kid, I want to get complete in the box. And luckily, like, the games that I really enjoy are games that aren't as expensive. So I still think I'm looking for Super Mario Brothers 2 in the box. They had like there's so many over there, but like I didn't really want to spend $90 on a beat up copy. And like one guy was selling, like he had like 3 of them and he was selling for $200 a piece. I was like, it's not, I don't even think that it's that expensive. Like I'm like, I don't know. Like it was just kind of weird because it was like, the prices were all over the place. And that was kind of the thing too, is like, it is, prices are expensive. Like if you are a game collector who's just starting out, I do not envy you at all, because yeah, like Price Starting has it at like 95. So I don't know what that guy was smoking for thing. Like every so often I'll see like a box and everything like that'll come up for fairly inexpensive, and like one of these days I'll actually, like, I guess, bite the bullet and like get a box that's not in the best condition and go from there, because I don't know if I really want to spend a lot of money on that. But anyway, I digress. I also got Tim Kitzgrove's autograph, and so if you don't know who he is the voice of NBA Jam. Like he's the one who says like, he's on fire and boom shakalaka and like can't buy a bucket. Like he's iconic. So I try to, like, that's the other cool thing that I like about these cons, is that you can run into people that you might not meet anywhere else. Like Howard Phillips was awesome. I did meet Daniel Pesina, who is the he's Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 1 and 2. And so he was signing autographs. I got him a while back and a picture. So that was cool. I got his autograph on a NBA Jam marquee. It's like a reprint of a marquee, but I mean, it is what it is. I think what I'm going to do is, like, above here, they make like marquee like light boxes. So I think I'm gonna get one of those. And so that way, maybe get like a Mortal Kombat 2 one as well. But that was really cool to me. And then also, I almost forgot, but I ran into Phoenix Resale. So if you don't know who Phoenix Resale is, he is a flipper, it's kind of weird. Like I don't think he is as controversial as a lot of people aim to be, make him out to be. He seems like a pretty cool guy and stuff in person, and like even a person who, because that's the thing too. It's like sometimes you can run into these guys who are not on, like, these guys are real people, and like they're smaller creators, so they're not like, you're not running into like some Uber actor or something like that where you catch them off on an off time or something like that, and they're like an asshole, like, but he's pretty, like, I mean, say what you want about flipping and everything, but that's what he does. So I ran into him, and I had brought along with me some games that I wanted to sell or trade. And I was like, oh, if I run into some Lynx games or something like that. But the problem is that, like, I don't like selling my stuff because it's really difficult and it takes a lot of time. So I was like, you know what? If I run into somebody who says that they're going to buy games, I'll go and I'll try to sell it. And like, I only brought like 4 things. So I brought Metroid Prime Remastered, which I had accidentally bought 2 of, Galarian's Ash for the PlayStation 2, and Chibi Robo for the GameCube, and the Messenger for the Switch. And I was like, you know what? I can let these go and whatever. So I came up to, Phoenix Resale, and like, he was like, yeah, I'm buying stuff. Like, I overheard him like saying that he was going to buy stuff, from people. And I was like, you know what? Like, hey, like I introduced myself and I was like, hey, like, I have these things to sell. What would you offer me? And he's like, yeah, look it up. And he of course, he has this like little phone app and everything. And he buys stuff based off of how easy it will be to flip. Like that's how he operates. If it has like a high sell count, that's when he will, like, he'll pay the most money for, because it's like, inventory costs money to maintain. So I sold it for a total of, let's see here, because he gave me the cash here and I still have it here. So I got $310 for Chibi Robo and the Messenger. So both of those, I know what they go for online. So before you get into the comments that I didn't sell for the maximum amount of price, you are correct. However, I do value my time, and it does take a lot of time. See, like, Chibi Robo is like almost $300 right now as it is. And then the Messenger, I think, is have a whole separate site for their stupid magic cards. Yeah, the Messenger for the Nintendo Switch is about like 178. So when you add it all together and everything, like it because the Messenger is actually going to be reprinted. So like I had to get rid of that one quick. So all in all, the price, like if I were to sell it on eBay, so $255 plus $178 at the max thing would be $433. And then I think like what, it's 15% or something like that. Maybe I don't know. Like, I don't feel too bad that I got that much for it. A lot of people might want to, take the time to earn back whatever eBay max. So like you're down to $368 already. And then plus you have to pay for shipping, or, if the seller sells for shipping and stuff. And then you have to, you also have to be beholden to the eBay return policy. And anytime that you sell something that's expensive, you run the risk to also get like these weird returns. And I don't have any time to deal with it. So I do really think that I got a decent return on that, because also I didn't really spend that much on these. Like I bought both of them. Like I bought Chibi Robo for like $30, and then I think the Messenger was it wasn't that expensive. I can't remember what I bought it for, but it really wasn't that expensive. But yeah, like what I said, I mean, I'll just move on from it, but I don't really feel that bad of getting hosed by Phoenix Resale, like, because I didn't really get hosed by them. So anyway, that was nice to get some extra cash, and so now I can like go into the thing. But anyway, I spent like a lot of time on here, but let's go into the video performance real quick. Last video of Super Nintendo was the Wii U prices. So like I've mentioned time and time again, I have been, trying this strategy where I post a buyer's guide, and then afterwards I post a Retronomics episode. And so the thing is that last time the Wii U buyer guide got about 2,000 views, not too bad. And so I was like, you know what? That slow and steady wins the race here. Well, I had kind of like painted myself into a corner with the Retronomics episode because I didn't write it until after I had finished filming the Wii U guide video, which was a mistake on my part, but it wound up kind of being good in the end because basically I posted the video and it like I posted at like 5 o'clock on a Monday, and I was like, okay, like let's see where it goes. You know, if it, you know, because I was expecting like, okay, like, you know, it's gonna do as well as the GameCube video, and at first it was kind of like a little bit of a slow start, and it was like, I think in 24 minutes or something like that, it was already at like 100 views, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, not bad, not bad. I have been burned on the 1 out of 10 performance thing from YouTube in the past, where YouTube comes out and says, hey, your video is doing really good, and then it just like straight up just stops it stops getting views. So I've taken the 1 out of 10 thing. You know, I was like, you know what, forget it. You know, we'll see where it goes. But it kept on climbing, and then like in the first like 12 hours, yeah, in the first 3 hours is already at 1.5 K. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, yeah, in the first 40 minutes I had like 135 views, and I was like, okay, all right. So now it's at 15,000. And the amount of subscribers that I got since that video was 229 subscribers. So what is cool is that the video Retronomics started getting recommended to other people who might not know what Retronomics is, which is good for me because I post Retronomics videos. And I think I've mentioned this in the past, but I hate when a video of mine that isn't a regular video pops off, because everybody who subscribes, and I really appreciate that they subscribe, not everybody is interested in the constant content that I have. So it is always frustrating when I post a video that gets like 100, you know, a couple thousand views, and then the next video I do is like my main content and it just doesn't do well. So this one did really good. It's the first modern Retronomics video to pop off this fast. The GameCube video from last year has 14,000 views in its lifetime. So most of my videos, they don't really, it's like a slow burn. And like what is always frustrating about the slow burn is that by the time that it gets like outside of my audience, it's out of date. So I get a lot of people who are like, this guy's full of shit. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, the prices are not where they are at. Like, they're not right at all. I'm like, so I'm really glad that it got off here. And also it has a 97% like to dislike ratio. So people actually enjoyed it. So that's always good when people, you know, cause like the limited run game video got like 80,000 views, and that is not a likable video. No, like, I think it's at, yeah, well, it has a 90%, but it wasn't that way at all. Like, it depends on, like, now that limited run games is kind of like, you know, the opinion of limited run games has changed. But anyway, I'm really happy, and so I'm going to try to get a 3DS video out and launch it by Wednesday. Depending on when this podcast goes live. So it may be earlier or later on in the podcast. But I wasn't actually planning on doing a 3DS video because it didn't align with my current production schedule. And like, that was the thing. It's like I wanted to do like a buyer's guide followed by a Retronomics video to get, like, you know, evergreen content. And the 3DS video is like one of the most, it has so many variants and like different other things to consider that it was going to be a heavy lift video. But since everybody's like asking about 3DS prices, hey, like, why not do a 3DS Retronomics video? And, we'll go from there. After that, though, I don't know. It really depends on the performance of the 3DS video, but I don't want to be doing these every week because they are difficult to make that fast. And I really want to take my time and make sure that they're the best videos that I can make. Because, like, also, like I mentioned, like last week, I'm trying to tweak Retronomics, and I need a little bit of time to figure out what kind of stats I want to put in that background. So, anyway, I'm really happy with the performance of that video because, a lot of people, like it does kind of like wear you down. Like when I mentioned like the burnout thing, it stings just a little bit knowing that your content doesn't get recommended outside of your subscriber base, as a new wave of things. So it's nice to see like 300 extra people are subscribed for the Retronomics content. So that's 300 more people that can like return for it and be interested in it. And like that's always been like my main goal, is to have like an interested community of people. But I'm really happy with it. I did not watch RGT85's video on the prices because I do not want to be influenced by what he has to say, even though I did watch his one on the GameCube. But yeah, I mean, and obviously like RGT, like his video, like it's pushes mine a little bit higher and stuff, so that's always good. Okay, so gonna go into this final topic here, and it is what I've learned in the past 6 years being on YouTube. So again, this advice, if you are a new person to YouTube, this is kind of like advice that I've had. And I really want to preface it by saying that this is for somebody who just wants to do YouTube as a hobby. And if you are a person who wants to do this as business, I'm not really the right person to answer any kind of questions and everything, because I've been doing this for 6 years and I only have 7,900 subscribers. This is kind of like where I've at, because like I always started it out for fun, and it's something that I've enjoyed doing and learning the process for, and I figured I'd share some little things that I've learned along the way of like just stuff that if I knew what I was doing now and I started my channel like now with the knowledge and stuff, what I would do differently. And one of the bigger things is that like advice that I've noticed is don't rely on other YouTubers to build your audience. So one of the things that I've like noticed is that you have a lot of certain people who they come up with the YouTube and they see like the larger creators and they always want to get a shout out from them. Like you see somebody with 100,000 subscribers and you're like, oh man, like if I could just get a shout out from that guy, I'd be set. Like, and I would have, the same type of audience. And I've gotten some shout outs before. When I was first starting out, like certain, like just random podcasts that I don't even know if they're around anymore, but, they would give me a little shout out and you get like a little tick and stuff. And then, I got a shout out from John Riggs a while back where he was like, creators that are going to pop off in 2021, I think. And like, that's kind of the thing is like collabs fine. Like, you should collab so that way, like people can like see for themselves, like what your content is. But if you're relying on a bigger creator to just go, hey, subscribe to Super Nintendo right now, that is like the worst thing that could happen to a YouTube channel, especially if you're not ready. One, if you're not ready to pop off. And two, if the content doesn't interest the person going to subscribe. So I got I think I got like 70 or so subscribers from John Riggs, and then like literally the next day, like 50 people unsubscribed. Like, and I don't know if it was like YouTube like purging people because like so many people subscribed right at once from that channel, or if it was just people who subscribed and then like I posted the content and they're like, this isn't the content. Because like that was the thing too, is like you don't have any control over the elevator pitch that these creators give your channel. He kind of was like, hey, it's about like system reviews and everything, and like I talk about retro video game prices. And so that kind of gives people the wrong impression of my channel and stuff. So, while I'm appreciative that he made the shout out or anything like that, it was nice. But if I had to do it again, like I wish like he would like reach out or something like that, and ask like for a little blurb about it. And that's something that like I would do if I was going to give shout outs. I would be a little bit more in tune, make sure that goes, because that was one thing that I like was looking back at. I think in 2020 or 2021, Mr. Beast, he had like a contest, or I can't remember what it was, but he selected like 3 or 4 channels at random to be like the next big thing, and each channel got 100 subscribers, which awesome. But every channel is dead. Like they were dead within a year, and like it like I kind of want to do like a video on it, like just on this channel, and go for it. But like, yeah, that's the one thing. It's like if your content can't stand on its own, then a call out from a larger YouTuber isn't really going to make much of a difference, and actually be detrimental to your channel, because and so that's why I'm like, if people organically like refer my content and stuff, and like they share it with like-minded people, like that's what I like to see. And that's why like every time on my videos I ask people, I was like, people always ask me, and they're like, what can I do to help the channel grow? And the best thing that you can do to help any creator is to share the videos on social media. Like if you like a video and you like it and you know that somebody else will like it, share the video, share the channel, and you can like and subscribe, but also share the content with others, because if you're in a group or something, or if you're on a subreddit, share that content, because like that helps to get the word out. And then when you're sharing it in outside links, like YouTube like kind of goes, oh hey, like people are sharing this content, we should do it. You can share it on your channel too. The little share button, you can create a post and say like, hey, like this is a really nice video and stuff. You could do that. So that is something that I've noticed. I'm like, because I've always like said, like, oh, if I could have like some channel like talk about my channel on in front of a bigger audience, like what if RGT85 said on his main channel, made an entire video about what I do and like the retronomics and stuff. Like, oh man, that would like get me so many subscribers. But it might not, like who knows. But that's one thing that a lot of smaller YouTubers, like they have like zero content built, and they don't have a consistent schedule, and so you're essentially like recommending like a dead channel. And that's not how you want to grow your audience organically. And that kind of same thing with the sub for sub thing, like that was something that I unfortunately fell into a trick where people, this was like when YouTube was changing the monetization requirements. So originally it was kind of just like, I forgot what the original requirements were, but they changed it to 10,000 views. And they were like, if you get 10,000 lifetime views, then you'll get into the partner program. And then they changed it again. They're like, and now that's what it is today. It's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. And so many people got caught up in that sub count, and they were like, let's do sub for sub. If you sub for me, I'll sub to you, and then we'll grow together and stuff. And it's against the terms of service, number one, but also, like, it's the worst way to grow your channel. Like, if all you care about is a sub number and nothing else, then you just might as well buy subs. Don't do that either. That's also against the thing. But, like, it's the same premise. Like, it's the same. You're buying a number, and you're not having actual real people watch your content. It's one of the reasons why, I mean, I like watching YouTube videos and everything, but I would not expect somebody that I am sub to sub back to me. If they don't subscribe, that's okay. Like, I want people who are subscribing to my content to subscribe because they actually want to watch the content, not because they feel obligated to give me a little tick. Because, like, that's the same thing too. It's like, I only sub to people that I watch my content and stuff. And that's another thing too. It's like, if you have an inflated sub number and nobody's actually watching your content, like, that's really bad. Like, that's why I keep, talking about, at least 10% of your sub base should be watching your content. And if you're a channel that you can kind of see some of them, they have like a large subscriber number, and then they put out a video and it's like only 300 views or something. It's always weird, but maybe they had like them from a while back or whatever, but it's not that they bought the subs. But like certain older channels that have been around forever, like, that audience eventually like ages out of your content. They don't want to watch it anymore, or they shift to somebody else. And so then you have like 15,000 subscribers, but only like 300 views or something like that. So that is what you want to make sure that you're doing. And it is, like, yeah, if you got like 15,000 subs, and like you're barely scraping by, like, if you have 15,000 subs, you should have about like 1,500 views per video. That's what you should be shooting for. And that is one of the things too. It's like, I've noticed too, is like, you also have to like be able to admit that maybe what you're doing isn't working. And it's not necessarily the content itself that you have to change, but it's how that you deliver the content. Like, maybe you change up how you present, or like you change up your descriptions, you change up your thumbnails, you change up your setup. Because that's one thing that I've like noticed, is that like, if you refuse to grow, and you can tell yourself whatever you want, you can tell yourself that you don't really care about the views, you can say that you're just doing this to have fun, but anytime that I hear people say that, like, I know that you're just trying to tell yourself that as an excuse for not growing. Like, obviously, the people who do have fun, like, I've never seen them complain. Like, so some channels that I'm subscribed to, they get like a couple hundred views a video, and they're content with it. They have a couple thousand subscribers, and they they like to stream or do whatever, and they just like to have fun, like, and that's them. And like, I never hear them complain, like, and those are the ones who are truly happy. But the people who are like, they're constantly just like being negative and everything, and that's kind of the other thing too, is like, when you're looking at a community as a whole, like sometimes you run into these creators, and they're part of like a little shtick, and some of them, they're there to have, they're there to collab off of and everything. Like I've talked to a lot of different smaller creators who have like the same kind of subscriber base as I do, and we kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And some person will be like, oh, I can't figure out like exactly how to grow. And I was like, hey, like, have you tried this or something? And they're like, hey, like that'd probably be a good idea. And they would try it, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but they're open to trying new things. And that's what I'm getting at. But there are just some other creators who just like refuse to grow, and then they become very bitter about it. And it's like, why are you even creating the content if you're not having fun? And that's another thing, is like, if this isn't fun for you and you're just doing it as a hobby, then why are you even doing it? Like, I don't get that like mantra that people, they look like they're going through the motions and stuff, and then they constantly say like, oh, like they see some other like YouTuber like who's been around for like maybe a couple of months, like just go shoot up through the moon and everything. And I've been there myself. Like I see certain other YouTubers and stuff who just managed to get like thousands of views per video, and I was just like, what the flip? Like, where do these views come from? Like, you look at their videos and they're not like, they don't have the SEO that you thought that you did. Like, they don't have like the thumbnails. Like, you try to do like all the YouTube guru shit, and like they're just like cranking out. They just like post out a video every week, and they get 15,000 views like that. And you're just like, what do you, and you're not, and it doesn't even seem like they're talking about anything. But like I said, it's important to like, keep you're competing with yourself for the most part. And that's like another thing to get out of when you're creating the YouTube thing, is that, I don't own the idea of following price trends. And so I don't really necessarily get upset when other people talk about prices, because, that's part of the collecting scene. Like, that's how the conversation, and that's why I try to create Retronomics in a way where, where like I can add something meaningful to the conversation that isn't easy to replicate. So, and that's why, like, I welcome when a video pops off. But the other kind of things are something that I like learned a long time ago, was don't buy things for your channel unless you want to play them. This is like a mistake that I fell into in 2018, where I just like was essentially just borrowing against the channel, and that does not work. Just FYI, like, I try when I'm buying stuff for, I don't buy stuff for the channel anymore. I don't buy like Metroid Prime Remastered. I bought because I wanted it. I didn't buy it to do a review on the channel. Same thing with a Playdate. I didn't buy it to just do a review on the channel. I bought it because I thought it was really fun, and I thought it was fun enough where I would make, a content on a video. I bought the Atari VCS specifically because I wanted to do a review on it. And luckily that paid off, because like the video did really well. I made like $600. So it paid for the system. The system was already paid for. I bought the Amico. The Amico hasn't come in yet. So I'm out $100, right? So, and like there's other things that I bought, like controllers, just random like quirky stuff that I wanted to do videos on that I never did. And like stuff that I do videos on like with that stuff doesn't have the potential to, like, unless you have like a bigger audience, and that's kind of the other thing too, is like if you're a small creator and you're gonna grow, like you kind of have to play that game with the algorithm. You got to talk about what other people are talking about. Like the reason why that Wii U video went off was not necessarily because I've been doing Retronomics forever and YouTube decided to throw me a bone. It's because the Wii U eShop was shutting down that day, and it just happened to be a video that was unique enough where it stood out. So just putting it out there here, it's like if you talk about niche stuff, you're gonna attract a niche audience. So if you're only talking about PlayStation controller variants, you're only gonna get like a handful of people who are actually interested in that stuff. But if you are a larger channel, like if I ever got like to 100,000 subscribers or larger, I would probably do like random stupid videos like that, and just go from there. But that's the also thing too. It's like you shouldn't be afraid as a new channel to try new things. There's a lot of people who are afraid of this algorithm, and the algorithm is this boogeyman that you can like blame stuff on, for not giving you the thing. But like it is one of those things where it's like if you have a video that bombs, like it's not going to kill your entire channel. Like I don't like when people like mention that, because really what it does is it really like puts people into a rut, and then the channel doesn't become fun anymore. And like that's the thing. So the other thing too is that you need to grow your own community of audience. So when you're cultivating a YouTube audience, you also have to kind of like keep in mind that people are coming to see your video. So if people subscribe for my Retronomics videos, the next Retronomics video that I make, there's a good chance that those people are going to watch the video again. They're going to watch another Retronomics video. Some people might only be interested in Wii U Retronomics and they might skip the 3DS one. Or they're not interested in anything but Nintendo. So, but the thing is though, is like I've seen a handful of creators, like they chase the sub count, and so like they change their content around to fit what's popular in the algorithm. So it's like if I was talking about Retronomics and then like the next week it was I don't know, like PlayStation VR or something like that, and I changed my entire channel, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go hard on PlayStation VR content for the next month or so, 3 months, and then it starts to fizzle out, and then I drop that and I go to somewhere else. Like, you have to kind of understand that your sub base isn't necessarily interested in you specific. They're interested in a specific topic of video. There's only a handful of people who could like actually like make their personality the thing that people come back for, and that is kind of rare, especially in the retro YouTuber space. Maybe like travel blogs and like all these other things, might be personality wise a little bit better. But like as far as like I've been concerned with like gaming, like YouTube specifically only will recommend content to people who think that's why a lot of YouTube gurus recommend that like once a video pops off that you should like go into that specific content. But I mean, it has like short-term growth and everything with that, and that's like the other thing too, is like I would recommend definitely not doing a YouTube guru or anybody who offers you to do your to give you advice for money is probably doesn't have your best interests in mind, because I'll tell you a little story. So, speaking of John Riggs, John Riggs, he popped up this thing. He was recommending this YouTube class, and he's like, hey, like this YouTube class worked for me, and he got 100,000 subscribers, and he's like, this works for me, and if you guys want to, this guy, he has some stuff that's gonna open up, and you should check it out. So I was like, okay, if it works for John Riggs, I'll give it a shot. So this guy, like, they did a video call with me and this one guy, and he's like, hey, like, here's the program that we do. It's like one of these, like, it's a guru, like it's like going to a Tony Robbins, is it Tony Robbins? I don't remember. Yeah, like a motivational speaker kind of guy, like where he comes up and you buy tickets to his little talk and everything. You buy his book and everything, and he's like, the key to success on YouTube, and so the guy who did it, he was like very low energy kind of guy, and he's like looking over my channel, and this is like after my Atari VCS video had popped off, so it had like 100,000 views. And the guy was like, he's like, yeah, so here's the thing, is it costs $5,000 for the class. And I was like, okay, what is entailed with the $5,000 that I'll be getting? He's like, well, Joe, or whoever the guy's name is, he does a webinar, with, it's an intimate class and stuff. And I was like, okay, so I don't get like any one-on-one with him? And he's like, no. Do I get one-on-one with anybody? No. It's just like a webinar. It's like, it lasts very long. And I was like, okay, and it's $5,000? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, is there any guarantee that like my channel will grow? No. So I'm paying $5,000 as a person with, at the time I had, I think 2,500 subs or something at the time. And there's no guarantee. And also, like, the advice, like, even the guy couldn't really pitch it to me. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not interested. But thanks for anyway. But like I just kind of alluded to thing, these guys, it's very broad advice, and 9 times out of 10, the only time where your channel will actually like take off, because like every so often this guy like posts like, oh, look at my class, like, and it's always like the name of the channel is blurred out, the content, all this other stuff. It's like, I don't even know if the screenshot is real, but it's like, oh, this person like made $140,000 this month in YouTube revenue. Don't you wish that was you or something? Like it's a scam. Like I don't really like to malign other people on here. Like I like to give valid criticism, but this class was like, it reeked of bullshit. And like the reason why I know that is because I have been involved in an MLM before. It was called Primerica, and it was the same bullshit, like you too can make a ton of money just by doing this small things and stuff, and it's a lot of reliance on you specifically. So I have no doubt that some of those channels really do exist, and like John Riggs, he swears by it. But as a small channel, you are not going to get that $5,000 back immediately. Like, you are not, like, trust me, unless you have like just money just burning. Like $5,000 will buy you, it'll buy you a new camera. It'll buy you lights. It'll buy you, a new computer or something like that. Like invest in yourself. Don't pay these gurus. Like just go. There was, I forgot what the guy's name is. His name is Roberto Blake. That's who you should follow. This guy, he knows almost everything and he gives it away for free. And if his advice doesn't get you to where it's going, then you should really be introspecting on, make sure that you're doing it right. Because unless some person is promising you, a return on your investment and can guarantee you growth for that amount of money, like I would pay, like if Roberto Blake was giving a seminar where it was like one-on-one, like where he came in to my channel and said, hey man, like I looked at your channel, like here's what I do. And like he would actually do it for me too. Then maybe it would be worth it. But even then, $5,000 is it's not cheap. Like, so, just keep that in mind. Like, just don't go for people like that. Just follow Roberto Blake and you go there. But that's pretty much all that I have for now. This podcast went a little bit longer than what I was expecting, but it was something that I really wanted to talk about. And if you have any advice, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Unscripted Podcast. Again, thanks so much for listening and watching, and subscribe if you are new. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Snicktendo. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.